Welcome back. Good. All right, let's go ahead and get started if we can. Yeah, sure, absolutely. Thank you for coming tonight. This is our third in a series of meetings. We had about 80 plus the first meeting. We had about 60 or so the second meeting. We were expecting full house tonight, but I think the weather might have dampened our enthusiasm just a bit. So thank you for coming and spending some time with us. We'll run through the format and what all we're going to cover, but we've got a facilitator with us who is also an IOP resident. You are IOP resident, right? Yeah. Rick Bradley is joining us. Rick spent his professional career with Belk and Bank of America in leadership and development, HR training programs. We've got some other facilitators from outside that we'll introduce here shortly. Again, we appreciate your participation, and these have been running about an hour and a half-ish, depending on how much feedback you got for us. So Rick, come take it away.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, let me add my welcome everyone to the session this evening, and I appreciate your interest and input, and we're looking forward to getting your feedback this evening. It shows real interest that you have in the community. But let's face it, not everyone in the room here is going to agree with everything that's said, but it's important that we let everyone be heard. Your guidance that you're going to end up providing through these sessions is important to City Council and to our community. I've been a resident in Isle of Palms since 2011 when we bought. We've been here full time since 2014, but I'm not here to offer my opinion on things. I'm trained and certified in facilitating large and small groups like this. And from Desiree and the mayor's invitation, have been glad to be involved in this effort. I'm going to spend a few minutes here covering how we got here tonight, and I'll talk about how the rest of the evening is going to unfold. But the majority of the time here is going to be your opportunity to voice your thoughts. Before I get into the presentation, since we do have a little bit smaller group here, we've got some very small tables. I'd like to see at least 4 to 5 people at each table. So if we could get a couple of these tables to perhaps disperse, I think you'll have a better dialogue if you've got 4 or 5 voices. Oh, okay. All right. We'll make this work. Before we get started, I want to see a quick show of hands. How many of you, and this will give you a little level set of the kind of opinions that we're going to hear this evening. How many of you are full-time residents of the island? Okay, good number. How many of you are second home or part-time residents? All right, have a few of those. And third, how many of you have short-term rental properties on the island? All right, a few of those as well. Very good. So I'm sure that most of you have reviewed the materials that the Planning Commission delivered to City Council a couple of months ago regarding short-term rentals. If you haven't seen that, it is out on the city's website, and I would encourage you to be familiar with it. We'll hit a few highlights from that this evening. And we've also got some of the City Council members, as well as the Mayor, Desiree, and Doug Kerr, and with zoning, who is here tonight. If there is a specific question that comes up at a table, we could get one of those folks to come respond. Let's start with how all this began to come about. This recent Planning Commission work regarding short-term rentals supports the strategic plan for the city that was adopted earlier this year. And that plan as well was developed based upon resident and owner input. One of the priorities in that strategic plan talks about protecting the quality of life from the impact of short-term accommodations. In addition to quality of life, another goal that's in that strategic plan is to leverage tourism-related revenue to support tourism impacted services like police, parking, traffic control, et cetera. So the work here and your input is in support, and we'll probably hear alarms like that go off all night. So I wanted to show you too, and I know the slide here is small, but I'll talk through the key points on it. It's important to note that short-term rentals has been a topic for City Council for over a couple of decades. Back in 2001, the business licenses for short-term rentals were required for the first time. A year later, the size of new houses was limited. In 2006, occupancy limits were put in place for short-term rentals. Then 4 years later, in 2010, council implemented occupancy limits on newly built homes. And then in 2020, there was an ordinance that was passed where the license for a short-term rental could be revoked after 5 complaints received on that property. And then in 2021, City Council again went back to the Planning Commission and asked for a further analysis and recommendations specifically around potential caps on short-term rental properties. So you can see this is a topic the City Council has dealt with repeatedly, analyzing any changes that are going on, and has been addressing short-term rental properties over that 20-year period plus. This slide shows that the number of short-term rental properties dating back to when licenses were first required. So that first data point on there is back in 2002. If you look at the trend line on that chart, the number had been in a slow decline in the number of business licenses granted since a peak of about a decade ago. But note the recent spike at the very tail end for 2022. What do you think maybe sparked that? The council discussing potential caps. People went out and got their business licenses just in case. All right. Uh, 2002, 1210, 22, 2022, 1563. You're welcome. This slide shows occupancy levels in those short-term rentals. If you look at the occupancy of short-term rentals, it's not surprising that the occupancy peaks in the summer months, June, July, and August. They dip to the lowest levels during the holiday season, November and December. This slide shows the new built rentals by year. Again, dating back this to 2003. Note that the peak year for newly built homes was in 2003, about 20 years ago. It slowed dramatically during the Great Recession years. It then rebounded in 2014, but it's been on decline since about 2017. A very important slide, I think. This shows the various sources of revenue for the city. Note that the short-term rental accommodation taxes and rental licenses represent a full third of the city's revenue stream. That's more than the city receives from property taxes. Now, why is that important to know? You got to be clear that this is just a snapshot today of the city's revenue streams. At this point, City Council is making no assumptions that it's going to go up or down, stay steady. There are a lot of factors that factor into this, but it is important to know that short-term rentals as of today represent a third of the city's revenue. So when it came to these sessions and we started talking about holding these listening sessions, what is it city was interested in hearing some about? One, figuring out how to best maintain a balance between the needs of the different kinds of residents we have on the island or owners, the needs of full-time residents, second homeowners, and short-term rentals. They also are interested in understanding your viewpoints around how do we minimize some negative impacts to livability for full-time residents. We've also seen short-term rentals on the island migrating to other parts of the island that historically had lower numbers of short-term rentals on that street or in that portion of the island. In a few moments around these ideas, you're going to have your opportunity to provide some solutions and ideas around those same issues and concerns. Did you hear that question? The question is yes. Yep. Yep. Thank you. I'm not going to read this slide. You've got a copy of this on your table. This slide captures the list of recommendations that the Planning Commission delivered to City Council back in June. You've got them there at your table for reference during your discussions. And again, it's important to point out what those recommendations are is only that, just recommendations that have been made by the Planning Commission. They have not been adopted or acted on by City Council at this point, and that's where you come in. This is your chance to let City Council know how they should proceed from this point with the recommendations or not, and add any other thoughts into the equation on potential actions that might be taken by City Council. You had a question? I'm sorry, how was? Doug, you want to take that? The question was, how were the zones established?
We looked at various areas and identified areas that had the same characteristics in terms of the density of existing rentals in neighborhoods. So like a neighborhood would already be about 10% existing rentals, that would become one zone.
So when you switch to zone 41st, back up to the Wild Vineyards area, what was the reason for switching that?
It was determined that there was one neighborhood that was more like the zone that it switched to than the one that it was currently in.
Are you going to share with us the zones?
So that's
That detail is not part of the discussion tonight. But if you, again, at your tables, if you've got a specific question, please, we'll get Doug to the table to respond to your question.
And I would just say generally, the feedback at this level is a zone or a cap or no cap type of discussion. When you get to drawing lines, there would be a long drawn out process of ordinances drafted, public hearings on those ordinances. So I think that's a finer point. And the feedback at this point would just be, you supported the idea or the notion of caps in any way or not.
Right.
Don't we have an overlay zone already?
No, not first.
I thought we did that back in September there, they put an overlay.
No, you can have short-term rentals in any part of the island.
All right. Let's move along. I want to introduce the facilitators standing in the back of the room. We've invited 5 folks to help us facilitate tonight's discussion at the table. And it's important to note, they don't live on Isle of Palms, so they have no skin in this game. They're unbiased. And their role is simply just to make sure that everyone has a chance to participate at the tables. No one person dominates the conversation at a table, to help make sure too that your comments are captured clearly and fully on the flip charts, to make sure you stay on topic, help move things along if need be, and they'll help me keep track of time as we move along. All of these folks are trained and certified in facilitation skills with many years of combined experience. I'm going to introduce each of them individually. First, Jocelyn Ring back there. Jocelyn is the founder of The Ring Effect. It's a brand strategy consulting firm in Charleston. Jocelyn is a certified facilitator and an executive leadership coach. Bobby George. Bobby is the owner of Achieving Performance Excellence. His expertise is in organizational change, employee engagement, and learning. He's got 25 years experience, over 25 years experience in those areas. Mary Chris Del Chiapo is a Charleston native. Not as many of those around as there used to be. She now lives in Awanda and is the owner of Front Porch Leadership Coaching. She specializes in helping small businesses grow and helping leaders be all that they can be. And I found out she's also a chicken farmer. You can do that in Awanda, I guess. Kevin Kaiser is the owner of Coastal Edge Learning and Development in Charleston. Kevin has over 22 years experience working for companies all over the world. And finally, Andy McCarthy. Andy is the Director of Organizational Design at The Building People. He's a certified talent consultant, bringing over 10 years of CEO and owner experience in scaling and exiting businesses. Would you please welcome these folks to the island? All right, let's take a look at the questions that you're going to be looking at. And again, you have these on your table as well. The first question is, what livability issues have you personally experienced, if any, with short-term rental properties? Second, if council should decide to maintain the status quo, and that means no caps on short-term rentals on the island and make no other changes, what would you consider to be the pros and cons of doing so? Flip side of that question is the third one. If council should decide to implement caps on short-term rentals, what do you consider to be the pros and cons of having caps put in place? Then what is your specific recommendation around what council and what actions council should take, given what your response is to the first 3 questions? And then finally, and we'll ask each table to report out on this, we're going to ask you to come up with what's one of the most important messages that you'd like to deliver to council from your table. The process is we're going to give you about 10 to 15 minutes on each question. As you finish one question, go ahead and move on to the second question. The facilitators and I will be keeping track of where everybody's out. And if you're moving too far ahead, means you're maybe not getting into a deep enough discussion. If you're falling behind, they may try to speed you up a bit. We want you to be thorough in your discussions, capture your thoughts fully on those flip charts. We know that there may be dissenting opinions at your table. So make sure all those voices are heard and captured on that flip chart. The facilitators, again, will be keeping track of everyone's progress again. But we do need your help. We're going to need each table to appoint someone to capture those responses on the flip chart. Please, if you got great handwriting, you're the prime candidate for doing that. And then again, at the end, we'll ask each table to report out on that fifth question. We're going to collect all of the flip charts at the end of the session. I'm going to summarize them across all 3 sessions that we've had, and then provide a summary back to City Council. All right, hang on 1 second. Couple of more things. Yeah. All right, couple more things. All right, make sure I have your attention, please. All right, everyone, please. All right. All right, thank you. All right, I want you, I don't think we're gonna have a problem with this. We want you to participate actively tonight, but speak one at a time at your table. Make sure the comments are captured accurately on the flip chart and completely. But remember, there's no right or wrong answers here tonight. Someone may have a different answer from you, but we want to make sure all the responses are captured. Treat everybody's responses and conversation with respect, and please limit side conversations that are not on topic here. So with that, you can start your first question.
First question that's up there, eligibility issues, and are you going to be drive? Will you be having work in there? Is that cool? And Fred, number one, we pick it, we know exactly where we are. Awesome. I'm gonna go say hi to that table. You can talk about livability for a second. Talk about Yeah, so. So, when I hear you say with traffic, it's not necessarily like congestion, it's speed, and maybe not stopping, is that correct? Yeah. Okay, well, let's grab that, so let's grab that specific. And if there's more, let's make sure we have that too. Yeah. Okay, the traffic pattern. Okay, so let's grab the pattern. Okay. And parking issue then too? Is that what you're So, just a state trooper here, I'd like maybe a question All right, anything on living building? Put number 2 up in the top corner. All right, so we'll do the best for this one. Right, on this side, over here, take 2 lifts. Now think about this status quo. We are today, no changes. Keep going on with them. So the status quo on currently is without a limit, I could just keep going. That we might have already missed it. I don't know how we put that. Let's begin. Let's begin. Yep. Right. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going down. Pros and cons. I know pros might be a little harder if we're, not feeling what we thought, but let's capture what we can.
At least one resident is right there with the plates. Every time they're working. But I don't think we were ever good.
Yeah. Same question. I think I would just say, it's not gonna take something. And it works again.
It's gonna be a much stronger and more, motivated voting for what's it. Better for residents. I'm not saying that.
Figure it out. Alright, so I like it. I will be, yeah. Alright, let's go to question. It sounds like this one.
The whole reason why that is they're trying to stop that curve that just. That's the work. Well, Roger.
Okay.
How would you want that water? And we go with it. And you want to build it. Now let's try to change.
Alright, think we're good? What do we think? If there's a question too, you want to talk about council, I feel like that's the Holland pretty good. Yeah, well, you should. They've got something that seems like yours. All right, so let's do this again, free, pro, con. It's hard to figure out the pros. Or some cons, excuse me. So, number three talks about putting in a cap. Okay, and with putting in a cap, also take a look at the other thing that's here, some of the recommendations. Now we're gonna discuss what's good, what's bad. Make that the note, Elliot, the program. Recommendations, so let's put that in here. Use it. Use it. I don't know. Put that over here. So that's a pro, more valuable. So that could be a con. So start with the pro. How can be potentially more valuable if elections? And then the con is you can.
That's big. That's a huge. Some people throw it and put it in the pot. Yeah. That's.
trying to call.
That would be. I don't know how that would work, but so I would say I'm not. I have to try it. So. So right So what they're building. Okay, so let's put that over here. It's enforcement. Well, I think this word it might be a key to the grand scheme of everything, which if you think about. We're talking about, we're thinking that's what $3,000. You don't make $10,000. Okay? Really important. When you have a big party and there's.
We just did it to them. Just pay.
Well, this is kind of like.
Okay, so one of the. So let's put that here. Joe, what I hear you say is maybe going around the rules. So I would say it's benefit. For the word, for example, so. But maybe Cody says where if you know have the rental. So you can probably put maybe a little. I mean, Joe's living next door, he's looking to take care of it. Rent was not gonna happen. Oh, you mean a house? So you have to rent your. I think it's. All right, let's spread that.
See that? Different times, like so. Probably different colors. Well, partly here, this is what this box is all about. Getting them, place for that. Okay. Right, what he said. If you got corporation.
So it makes sense. And you five, you lose your life. Okay, let's put that. Agreed, but let's take the bigger thing. Oh, short-term. We're just gonna do big suggestions, sorry. This is where you can, again, this is pretty much what we're gonna do, copy pasting, go to council there, and like, do these big things. But for you guys, that would be the suggestion I would make. Or sorry, big cat, big cat.
Nobody. Somebody was saying.
All right, other big suggestions.
The ones that are. Well, and I'm sure.
You got to render one is capped on you. So let's make sure it's capped on. Cap is the number. Don't talk. You gotta get the fourth. Okay, so. Yeah, hold on. Can you pause me for a second? So, number 5. One being, one being, I can stand up and speak to the entire. And one big takeaway, one big. Now. All right, so this is what we're gonna do. Grandfather. Nobody knows grandfather, you know. Short-term rentals. Well, then what you need to tell you, it's gonna be restated. Okay, so in your thought, and
Somebody said they grandfather, but it's not gonna be, I don't know what that is. Right.
so grandfather and, be careful to say under the couch again.
Right, you're starting.
Got it.
But I'm saying.
Not question, not gonna be put, you've been right. Thank you. Very well.
So if we put you.
Anyway, good. I think we're ready to do a report out on question number 5, which is going to go table to table. We want very brief, quick responses to what your most important message to council out of this meeting. Let's start with the table right after.
Sewer items to be divided, no cap cap. Not based on zones. An island-wide cap that is zones. Occupancy limits based on a more fair method, not a universal occupancy limit, regardless of the size of house, square footage, number of bedrooms.
Ours was that we believe the quality of life issues are not limited to short-term rentals. That they can be in a large house, it can be from people on the front porch talking, you can hear them across the street, no matter what, whether it's a renter or an owner, and it is true, and we talked about that, that our houses are big and our lots are small. So density is always going to be an issue that creates noise and aggravation for somebody. So that was a big one for us, and we do believe that there's some split in our group too about whether there should or shouldn't be caps. Some of us said no, and some said yes, but this was sort of our universal issue.
Our thing was that the caps, I think what everyone was saying, caps will not address reliability, livability issues. We also feel communication, we're not really sure what the issues are still, because we see that the licenses really haven't gone up over the term, except for when they announced this spike went up. And really, communication should be to publicize what the specific regulations are, because we're not really sure. And also, what are the penalties, and enforce those penalties. There should be financial penalties, so also put it in our short-term rental fund, and use that short-term rental fund for enforcement personnel. Because it sounds like the people leave at 3 o'clock, and it's then put on the police, and obviously they have preference for accidents and things like that, because we've seen times where they are not going out. And so people are getting tired of calling, and they're not calling. I think our overall message is that we have enough short-term rentals and don't want any more. That the livability needs to be enforced. And that there are a lot of people in our group do not like the zones, and that if there does become tax, it needs to be island wide.
Right, we felt that the problem was enforcement. Instead of adding caps, if you enforce the current rules, we feel like it can solve a lot of problems for short-term rentals, as well as for our neighbors that maybe aren't such good neighbors and are noisy. So that would solve the livability problem. So address the renters and not the house. It's not the house that's causing problems, the renters.
Mostly everybody at this table pretty much had to leave, so he's nominated me moderator. It's a good conversation, not an opinion go, but really landed on what you've already said, which is be able to enforce the rules that we're currently, but would be overwhelming one of the problems.
Being one of the last papers, it's hard to come up with something that's new and different. We need to enjoy our quality of life here on the island. That's why we live here. But we need to also consider the rental population. We want to grandfather in whatever rentals are here now, and then cap future rentals.
We agree with many of you in that if we enforce our current rules and regulations, then our livability would be better, and there would be no need for extra rules that.
Well, thank you, everyone. I would say first, give your table facilitators a round of applause. And to our flip chart maidens tonight, thank you for your help. This table up here to develop a rotation of flip chart. That's what we've seen of that. But again, I thank you for being here. Your discussion and input, will go directly to city council. Again, I'll be summarizing all what we've heard from all three sessions. There's some common themes, as you've heard tonight, that have resonated through the previous session, as well. And I'm going to turn it over to the mayor.
So thank you again for your time. Again, we're not just looking at question number 5, we'll look at all flip charts and we have it all in the report. We're going to be back to. So we'll do that. Now that we're closer to the storm, Desiree and team are actually tweeting and sit over there. So on our website, on our social media sites, just stay attuned to what's going on. So, City Hall will be closed on Friday, maybe half a day tomorrow, kind of follow what the county's doing. But we'll put everything out on social media and our city website, but, stay safe. Yeah.
So after this, will we have a chance to vote on this as a town or a city?
Yeah.
Or do you guys take this information and you just make the decision
Yeah.
based on this sample?
Great question. So the question is, what happens next, essentially? So Rick will put together a good management report for us. Some of you may be a member of the Barrier Island Preservation Group. They've done a survey recently, has about 95 residents, I think gave that as well. So there'll be a number of data points coming in to do something with. So this will come back to city council, take a little while to get the report done, and take all the flip charts and do sessions to get a report back to us. And then we'll take it and decide on it based on all of these.
But will there be a vote?
Will not be listed. It'll be we'll say again. Sorry.
I just never heard that group better.
Barrier Island. It's a southern region.
So will the
Yeah.
report that the council will be available for?
It will. It'll be on the website.
We'll also email it to everybody who signed up. That's what we wanted your email addresses, so you all get it. Complete.
All right, that's it. Thanks again. Have a good evening.